You ever open a game map and it looks like someone spilled side quests all over it? Yeah, not today. Today's about games that keep it tight. Pure story, pure chaos, no time-wasting nonsense. These are the perfect linear games. Short, sharp, and emotionally devastating in the best way possible.
I hate tombs.
Let's start with Uncharted 4, the world's most expensive midlife crisis simulator. Nathan Drake says he's retired, living his peaceful, domestic life. But the moment his brother pops up with that one last job energy, he's back to climbing crumbling towers like his insurance doesn't exist. This game is cinematic gold. Explosions, emotional breakdowns, and the kind of witty banter that makes you wish you could flirt with danger half as smoothly. The puzzles make you feel smart for 5 seconds before realizing you've been turning a rock in circles for 20 minutes. It's adventurous, heartfelt, and the kind of game that makes you say, yeah, I could totally survive that, while dying from a 3-foot fall 30 seconds later.
As fast as I can! This better be close!
Next we have God of War, the ultimate dad simulator where every lesson involves throwing an axe through a monster's skull. Kratos went from rage-fueled chaos to a father just trying not to emotionally scar his son again. The one-shot camera makes everything feel personal, like you're third-wheeling the most violent parenting journey ever. Then Ragnorok comes in and says, "Oh, you like that? Cool. Here's 10 times the trauma and a talking squirrel with anxiety." The storytelling is genuinely beautiful, though. Seeing Kratos grow while Atreus figures himself out feels like a mythological therapy session, if your therapist had abs carved by the gods. It's brutal, cinematic, and surprisingly touching for a guy who once screamed every sentence. Next on the list is The Last of Us, a game that said, what if the apocalypse had feelings? Joel and Ellie's journey isn't about zombies. It's about bad decisions, good intentions, and emotional damage you can't craft medkits for. Every quiet moment feels heavy. Every loud one feels like survival panic in surround sound. Then part 2 arrives, looks you in the eye, and says, you thought you were emotionally stable? That's adorable. It flips your perspective, crushes your expectations, and somehow still delivers one of the most human stories in gaming. You'll finish it feeling conflicted, heartbroken, and weirdly grateful, like therapy that charged you in tears instead of cash.
We gotta get out of here, before the whole town's on top of us. You're done.
You want what I want, right?
Next up is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, or as I call it, Uncharted's cool grandpa shows up and proves he's still got it. Indy might be older, but the man still punches like gravity doesn't apply to him. The puzzles are clever without being cruel, and the exploration feels straight out of an old-school adventure movie. The kind where everything collapses the second you step on it. You get history, humor, and that classic Jones sarcasm, now polished with modern tech that actually lets you see the dust on his hat. It's cinematic nostalgia at its best. Half brain, half brawl, and a full reminder that archaeology apparently involves 90% running from explosions.
Just focus on not dying.
And then we have Black Myth Wukong, a game that looks so good you'll question whether your PC is about to file for bankruptcy. You play as the Monkey King, flipping, dodging, and smacking gods in a mythological fever dream that feels like poetry and punishment at the same time. The combat's precise, brutal, and deeply satisfying, right up until a boss flicks you across the map for daring to exist. Every frame is a painting. Every enemy looks handcrafted to ruin your confidence. It's challenging, cinematic, and strangely spiritual, like if Dark Souls meditated and started quoting philosophy mid-fight. You'll love it, hate it, and respect it, probably all in the same minute. Next, we've got Detroit, Become Human, also known as What If Siri Got Tired of Our Nonsense and Started a Revolution? You play as 3 androids trying to figure out emotions, morality, and how not to accidentally start a civil war while cleaning someone's house. Every decision feels massive. Like, one minute you're saving a kid, the next you've triggered Android World War III because you blinked wrong. It's interactive storytelling at its most dramatic. Half-tense movie, half-existential therapy session. The game constantly makes you question if you're doing the right thing, and the answer is always, probably not, but it looked cool. It's one of those games that makes you sit in silence after the credits, wondering if you'd survive in a world where your coffee machine could outsmart you. Next on the list is Alan Wake 2, the game that turns writer's block into full-blown psychological warfare. You're basically an author trapped inside his own horror novel, which honestly feels like a metaphor for every group project I've ever been in. The story blurs the line between reality and insanity faster than my sleep schedule, and the atmosphere is pure nightmare fuel. It's like watching a crime thriller directed by a caffeine-addicted poet who loves fog. Remedy nailed the tone, the lighting, the music, the weird live-action cut-ins. All of it screams, you're not okay, but keep going. It's creepy, it's clever, and it's so meta, it makes Inception look like a bedtime story. Play it with headphones on and therapy scheduled. Next, we have Resident Evil 4 Remake. Proof that Capcom knows how to resurrect nostalgia better than anyone else. They took the 2005 classic, polished it up, and somehow made it even more chaotic. Leon's still kicking villagers in the face like it's cardio. Ashley's still yelling, "Leon!" every 5 minutes. And somehow it's all perfect. The controls are tighter, the lighting's moodier, and every fight feels cinematic, like an action movie where the protagonist refuses to take anything seriously. It's the kind of game where you shoot a zombie, admire the ray tracing, and then panic because it got back up. It's fast, frantic, and stylish. The video game equivalent of a 2000s action film that actually aged like fine wine. Next up is Silent Hill 2 Remake, which is basically a psychological horror love letter that wants to ruin your mental health in 4K. James Sunderland takes a casual trip to a cursed town because his dead wife sent him a letter. Red flag number 1. The fog's thicker than gamer denial, the monsters look like Freudian nightmares, and every sound makes you question if you left your TV on. It's slow, it's creepy, and it doesn't rely on jump scares. It relies on vibes, specifically, something's behind me and I don't want to turn around vibes. The remake looks stunning, but that somehow makes it worse. Every shadow feels personal. It's not horror for cheap thrills, it's horror that whispers, "You okay, buddy?" while knowing you absolutely are not. And next is my favorite Star Wars game. It's Jedi Survivor, a game that's basically Space Wizard with Trauma 2, Electric Boogaloo. Cal Kestis returns with more scars, more hair, and apparently more parkour moves than gravity should allow. The combat feels slick, the force powers are ridiculously fun, and the story balances action and emotion like a pro. You'll be slicing stormtroopers, meditating mid-battle, and occasionally questioning why your droid has more personality than half the cast of the prequels. It's semi-open, sure, but the narrative pacing keeps it tight. Every moment pushes forward. No pointless fetch quests in sight. It's cinematic, heartfelt, and the perfect mix of lightsabers, loss, and stylish Jedi therapy sessions.
Just motivate. Advance! That V1 is close.
Next up is It Takes Two, the ultimate test of both love and patience. It's a co-op game that starts with divorce papers and ends with relationship counseling through platforming trauma. You and your partner play as two dolls, forced to work together to survive puzzles that feel like they were designed by a mischievous marriage counselor. 1 second you're flying squirrels, the next you're arguing over who missed a jump. It's chaotic, emotional, and occasionally so weird you question if someone laced your Red Bull. But man, it's creative. Every level reinvents itself like a game designer on espresso. You'll laugh, you'll yell, you'll high-five, and then immediately blame each other for dying. It's therapy, teamwork, and accidental homicide, all in one beautiful experience. Next we have Journey, the most peaceful emotional breakdown you'll ever have. There's no dialogue, no combat, no tutorial, just you, a sand dune, and your own thoughts slowly turning poetic. You wander through gorgeous deserts, meet a random stranger who might be your soulmate or just a guy with bad Wi-Fi, and somehow feel a spiritual bond stronger than your internet connection. It's short, quiet, and weirdly profound, like yoga for your soul, but with better graphics. And when that music swells at the end, instant goosebumps. Journey doesn't tell you what to feel, it just makes you feel something, and that's rare in a world where most games yell press X to care. Next on the list is Sifu, the game that hands you a lesson in martial arts and humility. You start young, cocky, and ready to take on the world. Then some old dude slaps you into your 60s in 2 hits. Every time you die, you age, which is honestly the most relatable mechanic ever invented. The combat is slick, brutal, and so satisfying that even losing looks stylish. But Sifu isn't about button mashing, it's about precision, rhythm, and timing. Miss one parry and suddenly you're applying for a senior citizen discount. It's punishing but rewarding, like being taught discipline by someone who also happens to kick you downstairs. And by the time you master it, you'll feel like a philosopher who could also destroy furniture with a roundhouse kick. Next up is Final Fantasy VII Remake, a bold reimagining that somehow feels nostalgic and brand new at the same time. Cloud's back, brooding harder than a teenager who just discovered eyeliner, and Midgar has never looked more alive. The combat mixes real-time chaos with strategy in a way that makes you feel like both a genius and an idiot, sometimes in the same battle. The dialogue swings from heartfelt to hilariously dramatic, but that's Final Fantasy charm. It's Shakespeare meets anime with swords bigger than your rent. And yes, Tifa and Aerith still cause emotional confusion in HD. It's epic, flashy, and sometimes completely nonsensical, but that's why it works. It doesn't just remake a classic, it reintroduces it with style and absurd confidence. Next, we've got Stray, the only game where you play as a cat. And somehow it's one of the most emotionally rich stories ever. You're just vibing, knocking stuff off shelves, and suddenly you're saving a dystopian robot city from existential dread. The attention to detail is insane. The way the cat walks, stretches, and meows, perfect. The world feels alive, yet lonely. It's Blade Runner if it smelled like catnip. There's no combat, just exploration and quiet melancholy. But it works because you don't need guns when you've got pause and curiosity. It's beautiful, it's sad, it's weirdly hopeful. And it's the first time in gaming history where everyone agreed we'd all risk our lives to protect a stray cat with a tiny backpack. Next up is Portal 2, the game that proves you don't need explosions or sword fights to blow people's minds, just sarcasm, science, and bottomless pits. You're armed with a gun that makes holes in reality, which somehow feels less dangerous than letting Wheatley touch literally anything. It's the funniest puzzle game ever made. Every test chamber feels like a therapy session run by a robot that hates you. GLaDOS roasts you like it's her full-time job. The puzzles make you feel like Einstein until you realize you've been flinging yourself at the wrong wall for 10 minutes. And the ending, pure genius. It's smart, absurd, and timeless. The only game where cake, lemons, and existential dread share a perfect chemistry.
From suspension, terribly undernourished. I want to congratulate you on beating the odds and somehow managing to pack on a few pounds.
Next on the list is Gris, a game so beautiful it makes watercolor paintings look like cave art. There's no dialogue, no enemies, just art, music, and raw emotion punching you softly in the heart. It's a visual metaphor for grief, which sounds depressing until you realize it's also one of the most soothing gaming experiences ever made. Every frame looks like something you'd hang in a museum, and every movement feels deliberate, poetic. It doesn't tell you how to feel. It lets you feel everything. It's short, it's emotional, and it's the kind of game that makes you want to sit in silence afterward like, damn, that was kind of deep. It's not about winning, it's about healing and accidentally crying in 2D. Next we have Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, the game that turns mental illness into one of the most powerful journeys in gaming. You play as Senua, a warrior haunted by voices that sound a lot like your intrusive thoughts on surround sound. The binaural audio is insane. Wear headphones and you'll swear someone's whispering behind you. The combat is tight, the atmosphere suffocating, and the storytelling absolutely fearless. It's not horror. It's empathy disguised as torment. Every step feels heavy, every whisper meaningful. It's a tough game to play emotionally, but that's the point. It's not just about surviving enemies, it's about surviving yourself. It's intimate, haunting, and genuinely unforgettable. Next up is Tomb Raider 2013, the reboot that took Lara Croft from acrobatic adventurer to full-on survival icon. It's gritty, intense, and somehow makes falling off cliffs look glamorous. You start scared and underprepared, and by the end you're basically Rambo with a ponytail. The story's tight, the pacing's perfect, and every set piece feels handcrafted by someone who hates stability. It's cinematic chaos done right, action, emotion, and a heroine who bleeds, struggles, and still climbs back up every single time. It's not just a reboot, it's Lara's evolution from icon to human. Also, shout out to the bow, still the most satisfying weapon since sliced ammo.
This is incredible.
Now you die.
And finally, A Plague Tale, Innocence and Requiem, the most beautiful rat-filled nightmare you'll ever experience. You play as Amicia and her little brother Hugo, trying to survive war, disease, and an ungodly number of rodents that move like liquid horror. It's stealthy, emotional, and weirdly poetic. Every moment feels handcrafted for heartbreak. The visuals are stunning, the music is devastating, and the story hits harder than you'd expect from a game that features 10,000 rats per square inch. Requiem just dials it all up. Bigger stakes, heavier themes, and enough sadness to make your controller damp. It's haunting, cinematic, and proof that linear games can still deliver gut-punch storytelling without needing dragons or explosions. Just family, fear, and a lot of squeaking.
Yes, get ready. There are jaws of tar right next to them.
Did you come to finish me?
Shut up! We're taking you out of here!
And there you have it. 20 perfect linear games that prove you don't need open worlds, dialogue wheels, or map icons to make something unforgettable. Sometimes the best games don't give you freedom. They guide you, dragging you through laughter, heartbreak, and chaos until the credits hit. If you've played any of these, drop your favorite down below. And if you haven't, well, clear your schedule, charge your controller, and prepare for emotional damage in the best possible way.